All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into some LPDS current events, LPDS specific current events. I want to make sure I caveat that. We got some feedback from the fans, from you guys, on the first world trivial problems that really grind your gears. The stuff we talked about in the last episode. We got a couple of things we want to talk about with that, some updates from the fans, which is awesome. In fact, I think there's even more coming in that I couldn't get to right now, so I'll probably add on to a future episode. But we'll be talking about that. And of course, we got a nice little cage fact for you. So all that's coming up right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti. Hope everybody had a good week. What did I miss? Show that talks about nothing but finds the lessons to everything. That's what this show is. That's what I forgot. That's what I missed. But we're back. Hope you had a good week. I had a very busy week, like a mentally busy week. There wasn't a lot of errands that needed to be run, but it was a mentally busy. I was doing a lot of different trainings on the internets. I had a bunch of work to do. Gym stuff. Obviously, you got to get the workouts in when you can. Um, it was just the days were filled with stuff. So, which is great. But this is now it comes to the time where like you need to hit the reset button a little bit. You need to take some time to kind of relax. That's what I hopefully plan on doing this weekend. So I'm recording this obviously before posting, duh. But I usually record Saturday mornings while I'm here in the motherland in the dungeon in New Jersey. But I got my nephew coming in. He's spending the night. He's gonna hang out all day in the afternoon and then spend the night. I guess he's gonna sleep on the couch because he's not taking my bed. That's for damn sure. Um, Actually, I talk tough. I'm not tough. I offered to sleep on the couch or here down in the dungeon with Randy, but um, he wants to sleep on the couch. He wants to feel like he's at a sleepover with his pals. So he gets to sleep on the couch while my dad watches old Perry Mason reruns and World War II in color and all that good stuff. So I hope he enjoys that. I'm just, he's that'll put him to sleep. He's in fourth grade. He's not. I don't think he's particularly enthralled with military history just yet. If he ever will be, he's not. Sticks, my brother Sticks. He's unique in the sense. Well, he's a special figure for a number of reasons, but he's unique in the sense that he was always into World War II and military history. Probably because of our grandfather JPL2. That's how I wanted to become a pilot in the Air Force, was because of JPL2 talking about flying and the Air Corps and World War II. And all I wanted to do was fly and kill Nazis. So that's what my brother was into it. My nephew, his grandfather was not in the war. None of his grandfathers were military men. His father's not a military man. And I'm not around enough to be sitting around watching military documentaries and stuff and be able to talk to him and make it, the military interesting to him. So I don't think he's going to like that. I think he's just going to fall asleep. Or he'll do what, we did as kids, is when the adults are sleeping, go into the kitchen and try to sneak food and stuff. Um, Little does he know, um, I'm awake late. I'm up late. I'm a night owl, as you guys know. Sometimes I'll even record these episodes late at night. I just I can't get I'm never tired. Even if I have to wake up super early in the morning and I'm tired all day because of it, or I'm just a crazy busy day and a workout and some other stuff, and I'm just dead tired. By 8 p.m., I'm awake. So I'm gonna be down here in the dungeon while he's thinking that he thinks he's gonna sneak around the kitchen and get food. I hear everything that goes on upstairs. I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it in this camera view on YouTube's, but this ceiling here in the dungeon, I think I've showed this in the past. It's there's a drop ceiling and there's not all the little covers, the little rectangle styrofoam drop ceiling covers. So it's, you know, insulation is bad here and the soundproofing is bad down here. So I can hear every time my old man changes the channel. I can hear the TV. I know who's talking and when. I can hear him when he drops the remote on the ground when he falls asleep in the recliner and the remote falls out of his hand. He's like, he is like Miles Dyson from Terminator 2 when he's holding the detonator for the bomb, and then when he dies, he's just and he drops it. That's JPL2 with the remote at night. So I'll be down here probably hitting the sticks with the creature and maybe the wet cat and Catwoman. We don't know yet, but if he thinks he's gonna go and sneak around and take my food, he's got another thing coming. Plus, I don't know if I don't know if Randy likes him too much. I think Randy thinks he's an annoying kid. So Randy will make sure there'll be no shenanigans or tomfoolery going on late at night or with my nephews. So that'll be a fun time though. I won't get to talk about it after the fact. This is posting Sunday, so you're listening to it now. It's after the fact. I don't know how it went. I'm sure it went fine. Um, but if there's any funny stories, I'll be sure to relay them in an upcoming episode. So I'm excited about that. What else is going on? Real quick, expect another Instagram, Facebook question solicitation. If you guys are still into that stuff, I'm prepping for another road trip, first weekend in February, back down to the LPDS compound in Texas. That's a 2-day trip that I'm taking, so I want to get some questions in. I didn't quite have enough questions last time to really make it a good 2 episodes, I don't think. I could have probably blabbed on a little bit longer, but sometimes I catch myself blabbing and I can hear myself and feel myself just boring myself to tears. And I don't want to do that. I don't, if I'm boring myself to tears, who knows what I'm doing to you guys? So I didn't do a 2 episode of recording that trip up. But on the trip down, if I get enough questions and I can keep things, interesting, I'll record twice on that trip. God knows I'll have the time. It'll be at least 12 hours each day. If there's traffic or bad weather, that 12 hours quickly becomes, 14, 16, 18 hours. So be on the lookout for that question solicitation in the Instagram stories. It usually pops up on Facebook automatically as well. And write your questions in. Again, you can put your name in there, or you can say like you can identify me if you want, whatever. You can keep it anonymous if you want. I don't I don't out anybody for questions, even if I think the questions might be stupid or bad or just bad jokes or whatever they are. Uh, I'm never gonna out you. I'm gonna answer the question. We're gonna have fun with it. The fact that you guys are putting questions out there or putting jokes out there and silly stuff, even if I'm asking a serious, subjected question, I appreciate you guys doing that. I makes this fun for me, and it really makes me feel good too that um, you guys are into it. Sometimes when you're doing something that you're passionate about, and I love doing this. Is it a pain in the ass to come up with sponsors? Yes. Is it a pain in the ass to figure out like when I'm going to record and get everything set up and tested and do the editing and the scheduling and all that stuff all by myself? Yeah. But doing the show, like recording it, the act of being here and talking to myself and coming up, finding out, what you guys are into and joking around and learning lessons. Um, I am passionate about that. I still enjoy that. It's still a hobby of mine. And to see other people enjoying that too, that I like that. That makes me feel good. That's awesome to me. So I do like when people are submitting anything, even if it's trolling. We got a cast of characters that's always calling the hotline with troll calls and questions. I don't have a problem with that. Like the audience, you guys will decide whether you think the jokes are funny or the questions are good or the impressions are quality or hacky or whatever. I'm here for all of it. I appreciate the fact that you're taking time out of your days, even if it's just to type out a quick question or to make a quick hotline call, 202-670-1114, by the way, if you want to call the hotline. I just appreciate that. It makes me feel really good that you guys are into it as much as I am. And even though there's only 15 of us out there in the LPDS universe, that's a big universe to me. That's a big universe to me. So I appreciate that. Stand by for that solicitation coming up to get questions. I'll try to maybe I'll put it out a couple times in the next couple weeks so that I can really get people, get a whole list of questions I can answer and really, have some fun with it. And even if I don't get to them on the road trip, I'll get to the questions. And I don't respond to those on Instagram, like how you can reply in the stories or through DMs. I don't do that, so I'm not ignoring you. I save it for the show. There are some people that are not regulars in the LPDS universe that ask a question and they're like, "Hey, are you ever going to answer this?" I'm like, yeah, I did actually. Um, I know you're a fan of my Instagram. You're not a fan of the show, clear, because you would have heard your question being answered. But I answer all the questions I can, unless they're grossly inappropriate. And I don't remember ever having a question that was so bad or a hotline call so bad I had to delete it or not include it. So keep the stuff coming is all I'm saying. And stand by for that Instagram, Facebook solicitation. Anyway, moving on. I watched the movie. Did I talk about this already? I don't know if I did or not. I watched the movie Nosferatu a couple weeks ago with Sticks. Pretty sure I did. I don't know. If I did, I'm sorry. My brain is goo right now at the end of a week, end of a long week. But if you haven't seen Nosferatu, it's a good movie. I'm not going to say you have to go see it or go see it now. Stop what you're doing, go see it now. If you like the Dracula stuff and if you like the serious storytelling of Dracula, this is very good for that. It had like that dark, old school feel to it, like the original Nosferatu a little bit, but it also stayed true to the original book. What was the guy's name who wrote the book? Ooh, I forgot. I'm not good with names lately. Not Bram Stoker. Maybe that's it. Probably not. I don't know why that came to my head, but um, it's a good movie. The dude who plays Dracula, he's not called Dracula, he's called Orlok in the movie. Um, is the dude who played the clown from the movie. What is his name? Oh, he's like a Swedish or Swiss fella. I can't believe I this is escaping me now too. Well, anyway, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this anymore where I just sit here for 30 seconds trying to think of names and words I'm forgetting off the top of my head. He's he's the Dracula. He's the head bad guy. Orlok plays a tremendous part. He actually got some voice training from opera singers to drop his voice down an additional octave. Is it octave or octave? I'm saying octave. That sounds more right. So that he can have that deeper Transylvanian style, like Romanian, Eastern European kind of voice. Is it Eastern European? Yeah, I got it. Um, and it's great. And the storytelling and the background stuff going on is true to the times and to the region and to the book. So it's like it's not based on a true story, but it's historically accurate to the times and like what people were wearing, how they were traveling to places, what the regions looked like, all that stuff. Just a quality movie in that regard. Would I have liked to have seen Nic Cage play Dracula? Yeah. Oh yeah. But this guy played a tremendous part. So he's a great actor. I think he was in the Craven too as well. Is that the name of the movie? Craven or not the Raven? Maybe it is the Raven. I don't know. Um, Skarsgård. Bang, got it. Bill Skarsgård. That's the guy who plays the part. Orlok. Tremendous part. Willem Dafoe is in it, or Dafoe. I don't know how you pronounce that one either. He's tremendous. Love that guy. Then the guy, is it Aaron Taylor Johnson? I'm terrible with names right now. Aaron Taylor Johnson. He was in Bullet Train. He's in a couple other movies I know that are big that regular people have seen that I just haven't seen yet. He's also the guy who is married. He's 34. He's married to a 57-year-old woman, and they like met when he was a kid. And there's some real shady like question marks as to their relationship and the validity and legality of their relationship from the beginning. But I don't know why I'm explaining this. Oh, because if you don't know him from the movies, people will know him from that story of him being 34, she's 57. They have two kids together, and she has like two or three kids from another fella who's probably dead right now. He's probably an old guy who's dead, and then Aaron Taylor swooped in, or maybe he was groomed in. I don't know. There's a lot of question marks in that relationship. I don't want to, make any speculations or incorrect statements and conclusions on that. So I'll let you guys decide. But top tier acting all around. Oh, Johnny Depp's daughter is in it. She plays a great part. She's the main woman character. There's also another lady in this. I don't know her name. She's never been in anything else that I've seen before, but she's naked on a horse and she's top tier bod. I think like in the movies I've seen the past year, she's top three, if not number one, all time bod for the year, easily. Top tier bod. She's on a horse. She's being sacrificed, maybe. I'll let you guys watch the movie to see what happens with her. But if you're into that stuff, go see Nosferatu. Top tier film, top tier picture. If you're not into that stuff, don't go see it. Do whatever you want. Um, that's that on Nosferatu. Real quick, before we get into the good stuff, I want to give a quick update for those asking. A couple of people have asked, not all of you, and this is not just a made up. You know how people are like, people ask me all the time, or clients are always telling me this and that, and in reality, it's not true at all. And you can do some pretty easy like investigation on those types of scam artists that do that, and you find out like, oh, this person's a fraud, they're a liar, they don't have clients, they don't have friends asking them this stuff. I only have a couple people asking me for updates on this. Realistically speaking, I wish more people would ask, but I don't expect them to, and I'm not mad about it either. I just know the LPDS is a small, close-knit circle in the universe, so I don't expect a ton of people to be asking me for updates on this. But anyway, a couple of you, I don't know what I'm talking about. A couple of people asked me, mostly friends and family, what's going on with the Spearhead podcast we talked about a while ago. I'm still doing it, but I chose not to put out stuff just yet when I had it all ready to go, and that's because I've been doing this um, marketing, this business and business marketing training that I signed up for. That's really kind of shifting how I market and put out my brand and stuff for Spearhead to attract the specific clients I'm looking for, to target the market I'm looking for. So I want to adjust some stuff with the Libretti Leadership Lab to align better with what I'm learning there. So it's still going to come out. It's still ready to rock and roll. For the most, as far as like it's still a go. I just want to be able to instantly be able to put that out, and it's speaking to the people I want it to speak to. It's still going to be very much general leadership knowledge and learning and stuff like that, so that anybody can tune in when they're driving somewhere, if they're at home and they want to watch it on YouTube, or if they're on lunch break, whatever. It's anybody's going to be able to digest it and learn some good stuff on leadership. Um, but I also want to make sure that including the appropriate, marketing verbiage, the YouTube like cover photos, and how to push out, updates on like, hey, new episode coming out. I want to make sure it's all in line with reaching the specific target market that I'm looking to reach right now. And that's going to eventually shift each time I just, see success and expand and grow and this and that. But I'm starting with a more honed in target market, and then I'll branch out from there. Uh, so right now, that's what I'm kind of focusing on. It's all behind the scenes effort on the podcast stuff. I don't even like to call it a podcast. I guess, I mean, technically it will be, but it's really just going to be like quick, like 10 to 20-minute episodes of like quality leadership stuff. And it's going to be coming from a perspective where it's not just like standard educational podcast crap that you hear. It's not crap, but podcast stuff that you hear. Like if you're in the cyber world, for instance, and you listen to cyber podcasts, how to study for the Security Plus exam or the Network Plus exam or the Certified Ethical Hackers boot camp or whatever, and it's very dry, no nonsense. Like, this is what happens when you plug a Cat5 cable into a modem, like stuff like that. Like, it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be your standard dry educational stuff. I'm going to try to keep it. I'm going to keep it Libretti, I guess you could say. Keep it LPDS style, where we're having fun, we're learning some shit, um, and keeping it genuine and authentic to what we are here at the LPDS of the Libretti universe, really. So anyway, that's the update there. With that, let's get into the good stuff. We'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right, today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Olive Milk by Whole Foods. Did you know that eating 2,500 olives equals 6 grams of protein? But you know how hard it is to take down that many olives in a single serving? And are you too much of a wimpy beta bitch boy to just eat straight olives or other vegetables because every time your parents gave you olives, you cried and whined and they coddled you into adulthood? Well, now you don't have to worry about that anymore, because Whole Foods has created an all-new lab-created beverage made entirely of olives. Olive milk is a murky, watery milk substitute that provides you all the nutrients and protein from eating regular olives, but instead of having to eat straight olives like some Ginzo trash, you can mix it with your favorite cereal, your coffee, or even your kale smoothies. So to get your first gallon of olive milk today, visit the customer bathroom in your local Whole Foods, and if you use the promo code LIQUIDSHITS, you'll get 29% off your first gallon. This is a joke. You know this. But what's not a joke, folks, maybe this joke didn't land. It's okay. These are the jokes, folks. Some hit, some don't. What's not a joke is that in a magazine that my mother had upstairs in the living room. What word am I thinking of? Jesus. It's a food magazine, recipes, different foods that are healthy and good for you and whatever. In this magazine had a blurb about The benefits of drinking pea milk. PEA milk. You know, the vegetable peas for pea soup, can of peas, the stuff that my old man JPL3 will put in any leftovers dish and call it a new meal. Peas. They have pea milk now that you can go buy and drink it. I don't know exactly what it looks like or tastes like. I don't know exactly how they make it. I don't understand why they made it. This is Jurassic Park. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Or whatever Jeff Goldblum said to the old man. You guys sat here talking about, how you can. You never ask yourself if you should. Something like that. That's what pea milk is. You were so busy focusing on whether you can do it and make it, you never thought about whether you should be making pea milk. And now it's a thing out there for people to buy. And they said you can mix it with your smoothies and you can have it with your coffee. I don't want pea coffee. I don't want pea smoothies. I don't want liquid pea anywhere near my domicile. If I want peas, I'll eat peas. Or I'll have a pea soup with my entree if I'm looking for pea soup. My mom makes a pretty mean pea soup. Nicky Sticks makes a pretty mean pea soup. He's a big soup guy, as you know. My grandmother, Big Margaret, made a pretty mean pea soup. Chunks of ham and stuff in there. It was phenomenal. Really good with an entree. What the hell is pea milk? What the hell is pea milk? How is it? Is it cold pea soup? Do they add a little bit more water so it's a little bit more like viscous and not as thick as standard pea soup is? And who's buying that? Let alone mixing it with your coffee or your cereal. Imagine just make a coffee. Pour the coffee in a cup. It's nice hot coffee. Mash some peas in a bowl. And then throw that chunk peas into your coffee and then drink it. Tell me how you like it. For 3 grams of protein, I think they said in the blurb, it was like, this is 4 to 5 grams of protein in pea milk per serving of pea milk. Why don't you just drink milk? Even the lactose intolerant friendly milk, the lactate milk, the Fairlife milk is lactose free or whatever it's called, lactate free. That has almost double the protein as pea milk. And guess what? It's not made of peas. It's not pea milk. You could just drink straight up milk. Or drink the non-dairy milk that they already have had for years. We don't have to milk everything, folks. Not everything has to be milked. Anyway, buy olive milk. I get some kickbacks on it. You'll get some protein out of it. Here we go. The Cage fact. Cage update this week. Hello. Official statement. The Lord of War 2 sequel. The Lord of War sequel, which was the movie Nic Cage was in years ago with Jared Leto, where he was the gun. I was going to say gun salesman. He was the gun lord based on the Russian gun lord who Joey B traded for that basketball player who's not very, she's good at women's basketball, but in my opinion, not worth the trade that they made. Whatever. I'm not getting into that. Is based on that guy, that real guy that we had in prison for a while. is based on that real guy. Nic Cage played that guy. The sequel's coming out. We've talked about this in the past. Um, it's been announced that they will begin filming this year. The production is starting officially this year for a 2026 release potentially, depending on how long it takes them to film and do all that stuff, and when they actually start filming this year. But Cage is in. Skarsgård, Bill Skarsgård from It and Nosferatu, he's in. I think he plays Nic Cage's son in the film, and he becomes the Lord of War. So I'm excited for that. That was a good movie. That was objectively a good movie. It wasn't one of those, I liked it because Nic Cage was in it only. It was a good movie. And say what you want about Jared Leto, he's a strange guy, and he made Morbius, and he stunk as Joker, but he is still a good actor otherwise. And he was good in that movie too. That might have been the second movie I remember seeing him in. I might have seen it before American Psycho because he's Paul Allen in American Psycho, if I remember correctly. And, and I think I saw Lord of War before I saw American Psycho, but that's early on, early Jared Leto, before I even realized he was 30 Seconds to Mars guy. So, good movie. I'm excited for this sequel. I don't normally like sequels, but I'll take a Cage sequel any day of the week. Even if it's Ghost Rider 2 Spirit of Vengeance, I like that movie. It stunk, but I enjoyed watching it. That's a background movie for me. It's one of those movies like, oh, this movie stinks. I'll keep it on the background because Nic Cage is in it, but I'll go about my life and do other stuff around the house while it's on. Because the movie stinks, but I like it. You're allowed to like stinky movies. Just don't. It's just a tough look when you pretend the movies are good. Uh, it's just you're allowed to like stinky movies. Just say, hey, this movie stinks, but I like it. That's okay too. All right. I like a lot of stinky movies, and I'm going to continue liking them because that's what I do. I like stink. Anyway, that's the Cage fact. Excited for the movie. There you go. Moving on over to the Junction. We'll spin the logo up. Should be pretty quick work today, folks. Um, I'm just continuing on the first world trivial problems that kind of grind your gears. I was thinking about some more. I'm holding off on talking about more because I like getting the feedback from you guys on that, and I want to hear whether the stuff that I bitch about is relatable to you guys. And I had a lot of people talk about the never-ending wipe for sure. That was a real common one, at least for the on the men's side. I don't know if I don't know if ladies deal with that. Um, I don't really want to know. Ah, you could tell me if you want. If you want to call the hotline 202-670-1114 and let me know if you do never-ending wipes every once in a while. That's fine too. I had a couple people, well, one person um, gave me some good insight as to why that happens, and it makes sense to me. It's a fiber issue. It's not really an issue, but or a lack of a certain amount of fiber in your system creates sticky dumpies that do never-ending wipe stuff. So, and again, it makes sense to me because I get a lot of nutrients and fiber and all the stuff that I'm looking for in most of my meals and most of my days, I should say. So more often than not, I'm good to go when I'm doing toilet stuff. But on the days I have those NEWDs, never ending wipe daddies, I can go back and be like, oh, I ate like this and now I'm paying the price for it. So it makes sense. But it was nice to see other people relate to that situation because it's really not a big deal. But it always happens to happen to you when you need to get off the bowl. When you need to get off the toilet, or as my grandmother Big Margaret called it, the turlet, that's when it happens. And you're sitting there. I just don't, you don't have the time. I don't have an hour to sit there and have my legs go numb like I'm Leaping Larry from Seinfeld with the limp and I can't walk. Like I don't, it's always at those most inopportune moments. And that's what's so frustrating about it, besides the fact that you're sitting there wiping wiping yourself to death. So I'm glad other people can commiserate with that. It's look, these are the problems we're dealing with here, folks. They ain't all, sunshine and assholes over here. Sometimes we hate to talk about toilet stuff. And we're not going to shy away from it because these are real problems that people are having. And we're going to talk about it and commiserate with each other. So that was a pretty common one. I did have a couple people respond to me or at least send me text message about the little handsome comments and compliments. Um, and there's definitely something to be said about like legitimate childhood. Not, I don't want to call it trauma because that's not trauma. Okay, people who have experienced legitimate trauma can tell you that is not really trauma. If that's the trauma in your life, look, I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. Again, we've talked about this in the past, and I've brought this up a lot. The worst day for somebody is the worst day for somebody. It might be a nothing day for you in all comparison. It might be just a normal day for you, but for them, if it's the worst day for them, it's the worst day, and they're going to react as if it's the worst day for them because it is. Now, the worst day for you might be harder, but you're still going to react like it's the worst day for you because it is. So, if it's trauma for somebody that they got called handsome as a kid, and it fucked them up so much, sorry T Family Show, that they, have like almost unhealable mental health issues because of it, I'm sorry. But to me, this is not a traumatic event for me. This was, though, however, a legitimate thing that happened in my childhood that now affects me as an adult. And you can talk about like the way like the relationship with your parents and how you were brought up and why this is a problem for you and you can kind of connect the dots as like, oh, well, this issue has happened to you. You have an issue with this now as an adult because it's the same like issue that you had when you were a kid with the handsome compliments when they called you a little handsome man. And when I was a kid, obviously I was way more insecure and ego based than I am now. I'm improving. I'm not a perfect specimen just yet, obviously, but nobody is. And as long as we keep trying to be better than our yesterday's version of ourselves, that's all you can ask for. But as a kid, like I said, I put effort into everything I did. I wanted to be cool, and my idea of cool was not always what was cool. Obviously, I wore a Peter Pan hat. But the intent behind all that was, I think this is cool. I think this makes me look like an adult and feel like a cool guy that I just saw in a movie or a TV show or somewhere else. And I'm gonna do that thing, and I'm gonna feel cool. So when somebody comes in hot with oh, look how handsome you look, my little man, and they have that sort of inadvertently demeaning tone, and it just belittles everything you worked for. Like I had my status, my feelings on myself, my self-esteem was up here. I was feeling good, dressed like that, and looking like that, and feeling like an adult and like the guy I saw on the TV or the movie or whatever. And then these adults come in, and some of them not on purpose. Some of them, I don't want to say on purpose, but it was like, I know you're trying, but you're a kid, so I'm going to remind you that you're a kid. They weren't trying to traumatize me, but it was definitely like, I'm going to cut you down a little bit. I'm going to let you know, like, who do you think you are? And that's a different story about their own insecurities, because to not let a kid have his day, have his flowers like that, that's a problem as an adult. Um, you don't have to cut the kids, you don't have to cut kids down like that. You shouldn't have to anyway. But there is a serious conversation that can be had about that. I think it's funny to think about now, but it does still make me feel at least a little bit uncomfortable, and that's a serious aspect of it. It's not a real big deal, obviously. I know it's not a real big deal in the grand scheme of things. Someone to call me handsome, they're complimenting me, but it always brings me back to that. So it was nice to hear from others that they have a similar experience, maybe not specifically with being called handsome, but a similar experience where they did something as a kid, and the way the adults around them responded and reacted created something with them as an adult. Call it not a stigma, but a hang up, just an issue, if you will. It stayed with them, and that stays with me still. When somebody calls me handsome, all I think about is adults, specifically like the lady adults in my life, my mothers, grandmothers, aunts. They always said handsome. I actually, it's funny when I was thinking about it after I recorded the episode last week. When my father or grandfathers, I think it was, excuse me, I think they chose different words because of a similar reason why I don't like the word handsome. I think it's because they were called handsome as kids, or their wives called them handsome, and it just wasn't playing for them. And they knew, like, oh, if I say a cooler word, this kid's gonna feel cooler. Like my son or my grandson's gonna feel cooler. And the men adults in my life, my family members, would always say, "Oh, you look sharp right now." And even if they didn't mean it, or if they knew I looked like a dope with a Peter Pan hat and a feather sticking out, the tone they used, the act that they put on, that was a self-esteem booster for sure. Like when somebody told me I look sharp, oh, you're looking sharp right now. Nice. Like that's all. That's it. Now, I, when I was a kid, I thought one of my grandfathers said shark. And I was like, oh, I love sharks. Sharks are cool. So this is good. I found out later it was sharp with a P, not pea milk. And I still liked it. Sharp, like sharp dressed man, like the song. But when somebody said, oh, you're looking sharp, like all the men, adults in my life, even my friends' dads, if we were at like a communion or a bar mitzvah or whatever, where we had to dress up, or a baseball, soccer uniform, oh, you're looking sharp right now. The men, for some reason, always use the word sharp. And the women always use the word handsome. And I don't know why. And I feel it's almost like I don't want to sound like I hate women, because I don't. I love them. I love them better than men. But for whatever reason, the word handsome, like I don't think if my grandmother said I look sharp, I think I would have liked it. I can't be sure because she's gone, and it's never gonna happen. But I think if she said, "Oh, you look real sharp with that," that would still be a lot better than like, "You look so handsome." I don't know what it was, but that word from them cut me. And again, to hear that other people related to that, we have a connection now. The LPDS like universe connection, we can relate a little bit. You know that feeling that when somebody says that, whatever that word is to you, that makes you feel like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like it. Um, it does something. So call it childhood trauma, call it what you want. Um, yeah, people related to it. What else we got here? A couple ones that I thought were pretty good, in my opinion. Somebody put traffic signals, especially during like rush hour traffic, but traffic signals that are not timed to optimize traffic flow. Now, big picture, grand scheme of things, not like it's not the end of the world, right? We can all agree on sitting on the outside right now, not the end of the world. drive to work or try to drive home from work or try to drive to like your kids' soccer or baseball game or concert or play after work and then get stuck in an area where it's rush hour traffic and there's traffic lights and street lights and they're not engineered appropriately and you're just hitting every light and you're not going anywhere and you have to move 5 miles and it takes you 35 minutes. Then tell me it's not a problem for you. It's not a big deal to you. Because when I tell you I get enraged, whoever posted this, I don't want to, they didn't say I can identify them, so I'm not going to. Um, they get enraged. I know other people in my life, I've seen it. Family, friends, it is infuriating. And it's something that I bitch about to my friends on a regular basis when we're hitting sticks. Ask the creature. Houston, I might have talked about this before. Houston, Texas is more spread out than New York City and has less people than New York City, but has the like same caliber of bad traffic. It's just as bad as New York City, solely because the city was engineered by a bunch of idiots. Between the way the streets and the exits and everything are engineered and architected, if you will, and because of the damn street lights. Now, there's a lot of grid pattern streets in Houston, which is fun. I'm a big fan of the grid pattern. New York City is grid as well. Boston is not grid. It's a nightmare. And you can ask any Bostonian the same thing traffic-wise. I love Boston, the city, but traffic-wise, it's a nightmare because it's if you look at the map view, the street map on Google Maps, or if you're old school and you have a paper map, just look at it. Nightmare. New York City grid pattern. I like that organization. Houston grid pattern. I like that organization for the most part. Where they get you in Houston they have the loops that wrap around the city so people don't have to drive through the downtown areas. That's the beltways that they have. And all major cities have beltways that you can loop around to alleviate traffic. But the way they have those mergers and exits connected to those loops and the streets that go through the city are an absolute nightmare. And they were designed by idiots, by absolute or incredibly lazy architects and engineers. Terrible. And then they have lights. We're in 2025 now, but obviously up through 2024, they have lights that still don't actually have sensors on them. I'm not talking about they don't have the state of the art, like the most up to date sensors. They have no sensors on them. They have a standard timer that they have control. It's just 35 seconds or whatever, and that's it. And there is no rhyme or reason on connecting when this light's green, this light over here should be red, or this light over here should be green, so that when these people go, they flow through and they don't create a traffic jam in an intersection over here. There's seemingly zero effort whatsoever to connect those dots and make it work as best as possible. Absolutely none. It's atrocious in Houston. Those two reasons are the two reasons why you have stop and go, standstill traffic on rush hour in a city that is way more spread out than New York and has way less people than New York City, and it has the same exact traffic. It's inexplicable and it's inexcusable in my opinion. And it's absolutely infuriating. The person who put this here, I completely commiserate with you because I know where you lived in the past and I know the traffic you've had to deal with as well and the lights and it's infuriating when something that is not that difficult, okay? Yes, it's not like what should I say? It's not, every Joe McNutsack is not going to be able to figure this out. Got it. But the people who are in charge of figuring this stuff out are supposed to be smart people already. City planners, you have to be qualified to be a city planner. City architect, city engineer, civil engineers. If you're a civil engineer, you have to be a qualified engineer. You have to take a certification test. So you're not stupid. And I understand, like, it's never going to be a perfect situation because of the way things are. You have to do the best what you can, but you got to do the best with what you can. You don't do the bare minimum with what you can and just call it good and be like, it's not going to be perfect anyway, and because of that, I might as well just half-ass this. You always whole-ass it, okay? And when you don't, this is what you create. You create this congestion and these issues that are the most angering that you'll see me in a car is when I can't go free flow, highway, no traffic driving. If I can't drive my speed on my timeline and just hit the open road and you're making me stop and go and stop and go, and it takes me 40 minutes to travel 5 or 6 miles because of your laziness or stupidity, that's infuriating to me. There are not enough people in Houston to justify the aggressive amount of traffic there is in Houston. The numbers don't add up. They just don't. And there's no accountability in the city government there because of it. I just don't understand it. So I commiserate with this person who sent this up. It gets me fired up just thinking about it now. I'm not even there right now. I'm in the sticks in New Jersey right now where there's no traffic. I got to worry about just deer and bear crossing the street. So thanks for submitting that. That got me all fired up, but that's, at least it gets me warm down here in this cold dungeon. So thanks for that. The next person submitted this, and it actually reminded me of another one. So we're going to kind of lump these in together. This person said what grinds their gears is when people leave dishes and stuff around dirty in the office, like snack room, the break rooms and stuff. They might have meant also at home, maybe like family members or roommates or something leaving crap, but specifically like in the office, when you're using the dishes that the office provides in the break room and you just leave it in the sink and you leave your mess around. Yeah, again, it's like, it's not my mess, not my problem, but like take some pride in the place you work and the places you spend your time in. I had several roommates throughout my life that were like this. One of them would leave stuff in the sink to quote unquote soak. I was soaking it, but they leave it in there for weeks at a time. Well, one of them would bring his dish to wherever he was going to sit, whether it was in the living room, the kitchen, or his room in the apartment or the house. And then he would just leave the dish or the bowl right there where he ate it. So it would be in his bed, on the coffee table in the living room, on the kitchen table. That's where it ended. That's where his time with that dish ended, or that glass, right where he finished eating or drinking. And especially early on in like college, right after college, not so much right after. I had some good roommates right after college, immediately after. But that is so annoying, especially because you don't have a lot of utensils. I'm still poor, coming out of college, or still in college, and we're trying to keep things clean. We're trying to, like, there's 4 of us, and there might be 5 forks that we have in the house. Okay? If you're leaving your fork in your room, that's it. Now, like, I'm out forks. Now I have no fork. So that shit used to really grind my gears. And then seeing it in the office spaces in the public areas, it's like, do you have no respect at all for that stuff? Now, I could see if you're like a disgruntled employee and you're just over it and you're getting ready to quit or something. Sure, got it. Like, I still don't like it, but I understand why you're doing. I don't agree with it. I still think you should have more respect for yourself than that. Because I don't want like my retaliation for bullshit is not to do the same bullshit. I don't the eye for an eye thing I don't necessarily believe in for a lot of things. Some things I might do eye for eye, but because I'm not a perfect person. But I don't understand that. Like, oh, this my boss sucks and he's a dickhead to me, so I'm not gonna wash my dishes. Like, if you're doing that, like you're not really making a good case for yourself. You're just showing like you're also immature as well. So I don't necessarily get that. But I can empathize why. Like, oh, this person's making a statement. Got it. Regardless, have some self-respect. Wash your dishes. Put your put your stuff in the trash. Don't leave it for others. Like, I hate the excuse that adults make. Oh, well, the cleaning ladies are coming. They clean the office every night. They'll take care of it. Like, come on, dude. Like, just because the cleaning ladies are there to vacuum and to take out the trash for you. That's what they're getting paid to do. They're not there to wash your dishes and clean up your garbage and then throw the trash bags out. Unless that's in their contract, which I don't think it is. But if you could show in the contract where it says, like, they're going to wash our dishes so we don't have to wash dishes, okay, fine. But we know it's not the case. Just be an adult. The other thing that reminded me of was something I hate even more, and I've dealt with it a little bit in the past when I've had I don't remember if I ever dealt with it in the military as much, but when I had outside jobs like during college or side gigs at offices like civilian offices and stuff, and people would eat your food or drink your drinks from the fridge. If you had, sometimes I would bring my own like milk or coffee creamer in, and then somebody would use it all. Or if I had a snack in there and someone would eat it, not just mine, but other people too. It still goes on. I don't that makes me so enraged, and I can justify like I feel like that's a little bit less of a trivial problem that is not really a big deal, but it just grinds your gears because you're now stealing food from me. And especially when I was younger and like I didn't have money to go buy lunches and buy replacement food like that, like I was on a budget big time, struggling. Like however I got that meal, that meal was something I had from like a week ago and I just was able to spread it out into a week's worth of leftovers because I had no money to spend. And you just ate my lunch. Like, that's my meal for the night. Now I have no lunch. I can't go buy lunch. I can't go buy replacement lunch. Whatever snacks or crumbs I can find, and that's going to be my lunch now because you're a despicable, disrespectful, lazy, fat piece of shit that had to eat my food or drink my milk or whatever it was. Like that level of inconsideration, it's not I won't even call it inconsideration at that point because you're knowing, like, it's not your food, especially me because I put my name on it. Now I started bringing a lunchbox in, and people were not going through my lunchbox, especially since I had a tin lunchbox and it was loud and you can hear when people were rummaging through it. As that was sort of like the little alarm system I had without having to put a lock on my food. But you're going in there, that's not your food. There is no confusion whatsoever. You can't possibly say like, oh, I thought this was my milk or my sandwich that said somebody else's name on it. No, you know damn well what you're doing the entire time. You know damn well what you're doing, and it's despicable. It's despicable. Now I can like, there's always those people in the office when you get that email, hey, like somebody had a big conference meeting and they bought food and there's leftover food. Go over there and you can get it. Or somebody had a birthday, come get some cake. There's always going to be that guy who's like the first one there to get the free shit and mooch off the free food and the free cakes and the desserts. Got it. Whatever. Do what you want to do. That doesn't even bother me. It's almost funny to me that you can kind of have like a guess, like you can place bets with your coworkers and friends like, oh, we got an email. I bet you Joe was the first one in there to grab that food, and you can have fun with it. That's fine. But when you're going in there without that announcement of free food and leftovers and stuff, and you're just going in the fridge or the cupboard with somebody labeled their food and you're eating it, like that's a piece of shit move. Because sometimes that's all the person has to eat. It's not just a never-ending wipe situation where it's like, hey, at least I have a toilet and toilet paper to sit down and wipe with. Some people don't. Like, there are some instances where that's like, I don't have food for the rest of the day. That was it for me because I'm poor and I'm struggling, and this job doesn't pay me enough just yet to stockpile food. So that really pisses me off. The people eating other people's lunches. We're adults. We are adults, and this shit still goes on in the workplace. It boggles my mind. And let me tell you something. I had no problem calling that out if I saw it in action, or if I caught somebody red-handed like afterwards that took my food. They're getting called out. They're getting embarrassed. I'm not going to go steal their food and be like, oh, now we're even. No, I'm calling them out. I'm going to use a lot of buzzwords that to everybody else makes, they're all going to say like, this guy is obviously more mature. He's handling it more appropriately and professionally, but these buzzwords are going to let this guy know, like, I know you're a piece of shit. Okay, I know you're despicable. I know you can't control your own fatso urges to eat other people's food because you're a gluttonous mess and you have no self-control and no discipline and you have no care or empathy or understanding or consideration for anybody else around you. You didn't even think, is this person's only meal? Are they going to be able to afford to get a replacement lunch? No, all you thought about was, this looks good. They'll figure it out on their own. I'm going to eat this. I don't give a shit about anything else but my fat, stupid self. No, I'm not going to call them that off on the first time. If they do it again, I'm elevating. I'm elevating. Okay? There are a few things in this world that I don't like when I don't fuck with that stuff for me. There are a few things that's my mindset. Okay? It's family. And when I say family, it's like my brother, the brotherhood, my true friends, my good friends, the important people in my life, family, my livelihood, anything that affects my livelihood and security and safety. Like we're talking, the big stuff, and then my food. And yes, now I'm able to afford food more so. So like I'm not going to be without meals for the rest of the day or week if someone steals my lunch, but my brain is still there. Okay, there were a lot of years growing up and high school, college, and right after where we had to work our dicks off to have enough food to eat and do all that stuff. So my brain is still in sort of survival mode when it comes to my food. So I don't care that I can go down to the deli down the street and get a replacement sandwich. You're gonna feel the effects and the consequences of your actions, okay? Immediately. And I promise you, when you open that fridge again, you might still steal food, but it ain't gonna be my food. At least you'll have the consideration and then in the moment to know, like, I don't want to deal with what just happened to me prior when I took this guy's food. It's one of the more infuriating things. Luckily, I completely forgot about it because I work from home now, and it happened so few times because I got so um, I don't want to say like aggressive with the person, but I let them know instantly this will never be tolerated again. And I was professional. Always professional in public settings like that, and I'm mature, and I try to do things as like that all the time in public. But I let them know you will never do this to me again. So it's happened so few times I forgot. It's not a problem at all. I don't have to go in my fridge now and be like, oh shit, who ate my food? It was me. I ate my food. I live at home. Randy's not opening the fridge. If he opened the fridge and went in there and then took out the Tupperware and then took out my shredded chicken that I have bulk cooked every week, and then he put it on over some vegetables and heated it up, like I would be like, okay, that's impressive, buddy. You earned that meal. But I don't have to worry about it. I haven't had to worry about it for a long time, so I forgot about it. But now that I'm remembering it, it was one of, if not the most angering thing when somebody took your food like that. Even as a kid, I know kids were stupid. If there's a lot more excuses, a lot more excusable when kids do that stuff. It's like, oh, he's a kid. Kids are selfish and stupid and don't think about that stuff, so they're gonna do that. Got it. I probably stole people's food when I was a kid too. I was a little shit. But as an adult, you're not getting away with it ever again with me. And if you try, you're going to absolutely regret it. You might not want to come back to this job anymore. You're going to regret it so much. And if I don't like you, if you're a problem in other arenas in our lives, like if you're a bad worker or you're stealing from the company or whatever it is, like your family's also going to know the kind of human being you are. Because you know those people are hiding it. They're two faces. They go home and they're like, why would a woman stay with a man and be married to and love a man who does that stuff, who steals other people's lunches? An adult stealing lunches. He's going to go home and he imagine he says like, oh, what did you eat for lunch? Oh, I stole Mike's lunch. So he had a leftover burger or a turkey club. It was really good. And she's going to be, oh, that's great. Good for you. If he did that, any self-respecting woman or spouse, I should say, I've never dealt with women stealing my lunches, but I'm sure there are women who steal lunches or food. But just imagine going home. Like any self-respecting spouse, oh yeah, I was gonna go order from this deli, but Mike had a turkey club in there, so I ate his. I'd be like, are you fucking serious, dude? You stole another adult's lunch and you're okay with that? Like, that's despicable. That's embarrassing. You're an adult. You stole somebody's lunch from the fridge? Like, what is wrong with you? So I will make sure your family knows, and I make sure your children know. You're trying to teach them values and how to grow up and be adults and mature and teach them those ways and customs and courtesies, and you're out there stealing lunches. Your kids will know. I will make sure that when you get home from work that day, if you double crossed me, if you cross me for the second time, and on top of that, you're also like a shitty employee or you have no ethics to begin with. Like if you're dead to me morally and ethically like that, your family's gonna know. By the time you walk in the door, you're gonna sit there, your spouse is gonna be looking at you, your kids are gonna be looking at you and be like, you steal other adults' lunches? That's how you eat lunch every day? You fat, inconsiderate piece of shit? Likely, that dude he's not providing anything emotionally or mentally to that family to begin with. Let's be honest. If you're that morally bankrupt that you're just completely okay with stealing people's lunches as an adult in the workplace, you're not helping out your spouse and your kids at all. You're just physically there. Maybe you're a paycheck. You're paying the bills because you're the breadwinning job, and that's about it. If you're a man, I'm pretty confident you're not satisfying your woman. She should probably go get it elsewhere if she hasn't already. And certainly after I get done talking with her and your family, she's going to be going elsewhere. In fact, I'll help her pack her bags because that is as despicable and ethically and morally bankrupt as you can get. Stealing people's lunches. You're an adult. There's no other way I can say. You're an adult and You're stealing somebody else's lunches. Who are you? Who do you think you are? Like, who does that? Where in the annals of your like upbringing did anybody ever tell you like, yeah, that's okay? Like, hey, don't forget, if you forget your lunch today, or you don't have the money to buy it, or you don't feel like getting outside and ordering lunch, just go in the fridge. There's plenty of food in there. It's not yours, but you could steal it and you don't have to give it back because you ate it. They're not going to ask for it back because you ate it already. So go ahead and do that. Who's telling you that that's okay? Because I want to find that person and have a discussion with them and teach them the leadership ways. Make them a better person. But that's just, not only is it embarrassing, it's absolutely infuriating. Especially, I'm remembering it now, when I was younger and struggling financially. If somebody stole my food, that was it for me. Like I have no food for the rest of the day now. I can't go and be like, oh, I'll just use the money I planned for tomorrow to buy food and to make up for it. Because now the money for tomorrow's lunch or whatever it is gone. Like, it's gone. Absolutely, absolutely infuriating. I don't know another word to describe it. Infuriating is, that's it. It's the only multi-syllable word I can think of. It's just really grinds my gears. Anyway, that's all we got today, folks. We'll get more submissions if people are going to keep submitting their issues, their trivial problems that grind their gears. We'll have some fun with it. We'll talk about it. We'll get heated. We'll vent. That's what I like to do here. We like to vent here on the show. We get it out of our systems, and now we're back in the real world being kind to others. That's what we like to do here. And we learn a couple lessons every once in a while. I have fun doing it. So before we go, very quickly, the big three, the 3 pillars to staying strong and being a better, kinder, happier, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, and being able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you. Number 1, exercise every day. Physical, mental, or emotional exercise every single day. Do it. Number 2, the hardest one, don't be a shitty person, be a kind person. When the opportunity arises to be shitty or negative, take the LPDS step back, detach from those negative emotions, and go focus on more positive, productive things with your lives. That way you minimize the negativity in the world and you give yourself the capacity and free brain space to go focus on the more positive, productive stuff. The only exception is if somebody's stealing your damn lunch at work. That's it. They're going down. I'm sorry. Number 3, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. Okay, and you can do this by actively thinking about at least one good thing each day, actively taking the time and thinking about, I have toilet, I have running water, I have a roof over my head. And then think about your life without that thing. What if you didn't have a roof over your head, or no running water, or no toilet? And how shitty your life would be. That will immediately put you in a state of gratitude. And you can do that more and more times throughout the day to be more and more frequently in that state of gratitude and not taking things for granted. And if you do all those 3 things together, a little bit each and every day, I promise you guys, you'll be a better, happier, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, to be able to spread that positivity and goodness throughout the land and to all those around you. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends and enemies, please. Hit the hotline 202-670-1114. Leave the voicemail. You could talk about your problems that grind your gears. You can ask some questions, whatever you want to do. Hit that hotline 202-670-1114. I'm here for it. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.